In a move that caught every British warmonger and Republican Senate ignoramus completely off guard, President Trump told ABC News on Sunday that he's, quote, open to having Vladimir Putin mediate the escalating war between Israel and Iran. While the major media treated you to their typical new war propaganda, live missile hits, claimed so-called facts in the fog of war, Trump executed a brilliant strategic flank that could end this conflict before it destroys his entire economic agenda. Due to Russiagate and endless British propaganda, Putin would never be considered by mainstream politicians or the security state for a mediating role here. After all, he is one of our supposed enemies, along with the disgusting mullahs in Iran. Even talking to him legitimizes his aggression against Ukraine, they say, according to these historically ignorant ignoramuses. But here's what they don't understand. Trump and Putin both recognize the real enemy now, the British financial empire that has orchestrated decades of Middle East chaos specifically to prevent the kind of great power cooperation that would end their financial dominance once and for all. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I worked with Lyndon LaRouche for over 50 years. LaRouche's celebrated intelligence organization advised Reagan's National Security Council, and his involvement in the Middle East began in 1975 with intense discussions with both Abba Evan's Israeli circles and the Ba'ath Party in Iraq about economic development. Today, I'm going to show you why Trump's Putin flank is both brilliant and urgent, how it connects to that inspiring U.S. Army 250th anniversary parade over the weekend, and why the Democrats' protest flop reveals the dying gasp of a failed system. It's just so fitting that the main financier of that national hate fest got rich from Walmart. So first, the genius of Trump's Putin flank. Back in February, the Russian intelligence service published a piece saying that the recent Trump-Russian dialogue concerns fighting Eurofascism, specifically the kind practiced by the British intelligence services before World War II and continuously since. What the Russians call Eurofascism, we call globalization here in the United States. Russia has deep ties to both Israel and Iran. Roughly 20% of Israel's Jewish population is of Russian descent due to emigration from the Soviet Union. Putin is seen in Israel as having a personal affinity and respect for the Israeli people. He has a personal relationship with Netanyahu. Trade and security ties have been developed, and they are deep. Iran considers Russia to be a trusted ally. Russia has supplied the fuel for Iran's nuclear reactors and can overcome all the claims about enhanced enrichment and building a bomb by doing so. That's why Trump has been talking to Putin about Iran and the Middle East during all of their conversations, which started in February. Prior to the recent elite political insanity here, Russia proved itself a trusted ally, most recently regarding Syria under President Obama after 9/11, and historically, of course, during World War II, the Civil War, and our revolution. The consequences of not settling this war quickly, as President Trump is demanding, are dire, like blocking the critical Strait of Hormuz and all major shipping, and sending oil prices through the roof at a time when neither the world's economy or our economy can withstand it. So you see both the logic and brilliance of President Trump's Putin flank and its urgency. But expect freakouts from rhino or brain-dead Republicans and the extant deep state. That's how you'll be able to see them for what they are, those who freak out about this. Now let's talk about the war and the British role. When pressed, Bibi Netanyahu admitted in his appearance on Fox News with Bret Baier on Sunday that Iran could have a nuclear weapon, and I quote, possibly a year from now. That contradicts Israel's insistence that Iran is within weeks of having a nuclear bomb. It's in line with the assessment of U.S. intelligence agencies presented to Congress by DNI Tulsi Gabbard in March, that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon. So why the rush for this attack? In reality, the attack, planned months ago, was aimed at aborting President Trump's reshaping of the Middle East for peace. That diplomacy was and is occurring largely without Israeli participation. Israel pulled the trigger now to prevent the sixth round of talks between the United States and Iran, which was supposed to take place on Sunday in Oman. Those talks already had substantial Russian input. By drawing Trump into the Middle East war, the British obliterate Trump's drive for peace. Potentially, oil prices go through the roof and vital shipping is blocked, destroying Trump's efforts to rebuild the economy. The war propaganda announces over and over again that President Trump has been secretly controlling Israel's every move. Various Trump deranged peace advocates here have bought into this. If the Iranians believe that Trump hoodwinked them through fake peace negotiations, do you think they will negotiate? Do you think they will hold back from attacking our troops in the Middle East, the attack which could draw us inevitably into this war? There is a direct British hand here, just like in Ukraine's attack on the Russian nuclear fleet on June 1st, which blew up those peace negotiations. In Ukraine, it was the British collaboration with Ukraine in Operation Alchemy, a plan for systematic terrorism against Russia. With Israel and Iran, it may be Operation Hezuk, a secret plan between Britain and Israel to destroy Iran. Over the weekend, British bases in Cyprus are already active in the new war on behalf of Israel, and the Russian intelligence services are pointing the finger at Britain, not at President Trump. The second flank Trump opened over the weekend concerns the real war to build a new American culture. Patriotism and the real history of our country have been entirely absent from the curriculum of our schools and our culture for a long time. President Trump countered that on Saturday in Washington by presenting the history of the Army on its 250th anniversary, starting with its founding in our revolution, going forward to the present. Equipment and proud units and bands for each era and where and how they fought were precisely choreographed and presented for nationwide television, along with fireworks, music, short speeches, and the swearing in of new troops by the president. As I watched with my Vietnam veteran husband, I learned a lot of history. A lot of it I didn't know. I also thought about all of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for this country because they believed in it and believed in the words they spoke when they took their oath. To support our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to obey the orders of their superiors. We have had wars like World War I and World War II where British geopolitical maneuvering created monsters like Hitler. The same was true of Vietnam and every war since. Those soldiers, very few of them from our elites, held fast to their oath and their honor. But the politicians who sent them to purposeless wars disgraced themselves and the nation these heroes served. Many returned without arms or legs or a brain that didn't torment them constantly. I am sure as the president stood at attention, saluting each squadron of troops who passed, that he was thinking something similar. These are the people whose ingenuity and optimism prevailed in the Revolution, the Civil War, World War II, not necessarily by better military training, but through a superior industrial base and an attitude that nothing was impossible, that the trade of America was constant scientific and technological progress. Competently thinking outside the box when lives are on the line was the key to winning those wars. The White House posted a wonderful video highlighting what Americans should take from this event. To counter this, the Democrats organized the ridiculous No King's Day protests. They say 5 million turned out in 2,100 cities, but that number just doesn't compute. Most were in the Democratic bastions of Los Angeles, Seattle, Philadelphia, and New York by official counts, and those had less than 1 million all told. My friends in Detroit report a complete flop. Now, the largest financier of this slickly produced Jacobin hate fest was Walmart billionaire heiress Christy Walton. She outpaced the normal Arabella Advisors clients by millions. Can you think of a better contrast between this and President Trump's vision for the future? Jacobin robots chanting their chants and their pre-made signs, threatening mayhem. Walmart, where the deindustrialized and poor consumers of the United States are supposed to mollify themselves by shopping for cheap goods made in slave labor countries. This woman got rich as the result of our cultural destruction. No kings? In Canada, where the king presides, they had to change the signs to no tyrants. Apparently, those demonstrators don't yet know the real nature of their king. So you see both the logic and brilliance of President Trump's Putin flank. While the dying British Empire tries to trap us in forever wars, Trump is building the alliance that defeated fascism before and which can do it again. This isn't just about ending one war, it's about ending the entire system of imperial manipulation that has kept great nations divided while financial predators profit from the chaos and war. That requires a citizenry which is mobilized and fully educated in our history and the best of our culture. That's the mission the president undertook this weekend, and that's one we have here most manifestly at Promethean Action. The choice is clear. We can have Christy Walton's world of demoralized consumers shopping for cheap goods made by slaves while her ilk lives in gated communities, or we can have Trump's world of nation builders, inventors, and explorers reaching for the stars. That's the real battlefront in this real war. I hope this briefing once again put the pieces together for you in what can be a very confusing information war. Again, I really have to thank you for all of your generous comments, questions, and financial contributions. We are rapidly expanding toward our 1,000 paid member goal, but the ability to produce daily briefings like this and many more deep background pieces for you requires paying and expanding staff. So if you haven't done so, please go to Promethean Action's website and become a member, contributing as much as you can. Thanks for listening. Stay sharp, spread the word, always look for the real drivers of events. Susan's will be with you on Wednesday, and I'll see you again on Saturday.
Thanks for watching. Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at prometheanaction.com.